Hey everybody, we're back playing Mythos Tales for the first time in a while, since August.
Yeah, it's been
it's been a long time.
First time in this house.
So yeah, no doubt. We're doing the Star of Tokelau, or however you pronounce it. I'm going to say Tokelau because I like 3 syllables as opposed to 2. In Investigation 6, the Star of Tokelau, players will use requirements, which we have here, and then that's it. Armitage tells you, finally, a theft of a valuable gem along with suspicious murders. This is a case for the classic sleuth to solve, and I believe this should be a rather straightforward investigation. Let's be done with this case by day 7 morning. He then pulls a switch and locks us in the cage and gets a head start. I'm just going to check to see if we had any additional rules. Fine, 1 second, I'm just... Because I remember we didn't do too hot in that last one with the snakes.
Yeah, we got kind of wrecked.
Yeah, no, there's no additional thing, but Armitage left a note for us saying that he was worried about us or something like that, or worried about himself. So, the Star of Tokelau, Investigation 6, Arkham, Massachusetts, January 16th, 1930.
Did we not get like a free time unit for this one or something, or was that the last one?
That was the last one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I thought that was part of the resolution of the last one.
The last one was...
We did really
Yeah, the last one was Read Supplement 5. Fewer than 15 points. Read Supplementary Entry 5, which I just looked at, and maybe I missed it, but it was just him saying, I had to step out to attend a sick relative, but I want to tell you something that I'm able to tell you face to face. If anything ever happens to me, please always know you are and have always been my closest friend and ally. Never forget where we started it all, and I hope that before I leave this world, we have one last chance with both eyes open to conclude our adventure in the very same place.
Right, okay.
That's what he said to us last time. So, there is a fog in the morning air and a chill that makes you pull your coat a little tighter as you make your way to Armitage's rooms at the university. I'm glad you arrived so quickly, he exclaims as he ushers you inside. While you remove your hat and coat, the old librarian pulls down a decrepit-looking tome from his heaving shelves. Got 2 puzzles for you today.
No.
I assume you've had time to peruse the morning edition of the Advertiser I sent you. Any quick updates? Just for me, I just skimmed it. I saw a guy got just, stuff
The
happened.
guy killed himself with his stove.
Yeah.
I'll let you know if stuff I think is relevant.
You just wrote down the sports section. And... Good, because that makes 3 suspicious disappearances this week alone. I simply cannot see how 3 elderly residents of our town can up and vanish overnight. All 3 are retirees without families or close associates to miss them. Perfect victims. I also cannot imagine that the timing of their disappearances is a mere coincidence, with the gala event taking place at the museum this week. The Star of Tokelau troubles me immensely. Even without the nonsense about the curse, there remains something odd about its history. I was talking with Inspector Garrison yesterday about the security, and he mentioned his constables having to chase a group of never-do-wells away from the museum's service entrance. Pausing to fill his pipe, the old librarian flips open the dusty tome to a page with the heading, Ritual Magics, in a spidery scrawl. Glancing at the unearthly symbols on the page makes you feel extremely nauseous, and you quickly avert your gaze. This is a translation from the 12th century Latin original. Its title roughly translates as Things of the Water. Wow, deep ones. And it describes ritual sacrifices to monsters that live in the deep in return for baubles such as this diamond. I don't believe the stories of a curse for 1 minute, but no smoke without fire, so to speak. I need you to look into these disappearances. Hopefully they are mundane, but one can never be too careful. Secondly, see what you can find about this gem, make sure there is nothing to the rumors, and identify the men lurking around the stone. It would be foolhardy to assume that a gem of that value wouldn't attract the wrong kind of attention from certain quarters, supernatural or criminal. Do you think he gets mad at us when he's talking and I snarkily say deep ones and he just shoots me a look and he's like, shut up. You're not supposed to know
That's
this.
probably why he keeps locking you in the cage.
Yeah.
These guys know too much. They're handicapped. We're like, no, we're actually really dumb.
Yeah. The poison had a lasting effect on us and we're not feeling too good.
Yeah.
Alright, so we probably want to check the retirees that went missing first, right?
Yeah, sure.
Those are what's their nuts? The war veterans?
Yeah, John Salter and Henry Benoit.
Henry Benoit. And then who was the third that went missing?
There's one guy that died. A patrolman.
Yeah, Barton Johnson.
Yeah.
Woman's blood test for parrot disease. Ooh, that sucks. Yeah, so do we want to follow, because we have those, we have also then the museum lead, right? That's the other lead we can pursue.
Yeah.
Well, should we go to one of these guys first? You want to go to Benoit or Salter?
Pick one.
Let's go to Chris Benoit's house, because he was a wrestler who...
U33.
You're 33?
He's a wrestler?
Oh, yeah, and he, Chris Benoit, and he killed his wife and son, and then he killed himself. So it's a happy story.
What?
So what's that Benoit's location?
Henry Benoit?
Yeah.
Does that actually have something to do with like the story? or
No,
is that-
no,
Okay.
it's a side
I was like,
note.
did I miss something? U33.
Cool, thank you.
Just one, please.
All right. The fog is thick as you stride. The fog is thick as you stride purposely along West Miskatonic Ave in Uptown. You arrive at the large, stately home of Colonel Henry Benoit and can just make out the stars and stripes hanging limply from a flagpole in the front yard. With your knocks unanswered and the fog masking your approach, you skirt around the building until you find a French widow, which opens with a firm shove. A French window, not widow. I messed that up. A French window which opens with a firm shove. Eager to hunt for clues before you are disturbed, you make your way through the house, finding that only about a sixth of it appears to have been lived in. All except the kitchen and parlor. Kitchen parlor and one of the upstairs bedrooms have the furniture covered in dust sheets and the drapes pulled closed. You concentrate your search on the occupied rooms and discover little. There is a ticket for the museum gala event on Saturday evening standing in the letter rack, along with a scribbled letter in a shaky hand penned from John. It reads... John was the other guy who went missing.
Yeah.
I fear for our safety. When the Kraken went down with all the hands during the war, we swore we wouldn't tell about the horrors from below that wrought the destruction. I was passing Yates the other day on the way from the armory, and he said I had some of their jewelry on display. Matthew McDermott keeps insisting I go fishing with him in his charter boat. He thinks it would do me good. Perhaps it would do us both good before it is too late. They will come for us, Henry. What should we do? Will Charles come? I fear those deep ones and their loathsome servants. The accursed Innsmouth connection will come for us. It is time for them to finish what they started in 1917. What should we do? You carefully replace the note, leaving everything as you found it, and slip out of the house the way you came. If you
So
want
one
to.
is U8.
Yeah, okay, so from that I got that
U33.
Matthew McDermott wants to go fishing.
Yeah. Oh, here, if you want to skim through there.
I'm just checking these.
Yeah, because we don't have anything that far back.
Oh, 1917?
Yeah.
Man, I wasn't even born in 1917. I'm actually an 8-year-old in this investigation. I'm role-playing. I'm Wendy Adams.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm an urchin. Please, sir? Can I have some bubbles?
If we're role playing, I want to be Armitage's like caretaker.
Sure.
He's
I thought you were going to say Rex Murphy, and then I'll be like, oh, now we need to curse you
he has
somehow.
dementia, and we're actually like
Yeah.
Bryn's imaginary, and we're just going out for fun. Deep ones.
So it's definitely the deep ones. We got that solved pretty quick.
Yeah.
All right, we have the list of people who also could be helpful on this thing if we ever need to look at that.
Do you have a location for the museum?
The museum, yeah, it should be in the thing.
And what day is it?
Oh, what day is it? It is on... Has been delayed until next week due to an unforeseen problem with a missing artifact. So one thing I noticed in the other ones that we kind of just did that thing where we went through one, we saw a name, we went to that name, and it didn't really help us. So we might need to start like also kind of jumping through hoops, right? But who knows? Because the other name was Matthew McDermott.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know who that is?
I didn't see anything on.
Something though.
Because maybe we now just also go to the museum to just check it out and just like see where these two leads take us. Because I feel like going to what's his nuts house, the other missing veteran, is just gonna be. This guy was a panicked dude. There's a picture of a weird fish in the water. I just don't know if it's gonna be good. Because I feel like we got a lot from this one.
Yeah, this is a good one to go do.
So also it says the museum gala event was on Saturday evening.
Yeah, I got that.
Okay, cool.
No, the reason I was super confused when you're talking about a wrestler is because like there's an article in the
Yeah,
newspaper that's
about a
talking
wrestler,
about a wrestler.
That's funny. That's really funny.
I was like, really? Holy shit!
Sorry, no, I actually read the wrong newspaper because this one's also about a new exhibition.
Oh,
The article, it's for Saturday for the museum. There is no delayed museum. It's just the cursed diamond is the centerpiece.
okay.
I mean, this is probably why it's going to be delayed.
Yeah.
Okay, so our options are, like, there's a chauffeur who escaped from the Fifth Street prison. We go talk to them we go talk to them at the prison. There's the patrolman who killed himself. We go talk to his wife.
Mm-hmm.
We go see the other veteran. Or we could go to the Miskatonic Valley Veterans Home that they disappeared from.
Mm-hmm.
For the Star of Tokelau itself, we could talk to Amanda Belanger.
Does she have a house?
Yep.
She might be at the museum.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. We could go to Aunt Enid's soup morning. Because it says she makes soup for, like, elderly people. So that might be the veterans.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there's, like, this fucking fighty guy.
Seriously, you can.
This wrestler guy or whatever.
We should spend a lot of time watching this guy because Armitage hates him.
Yeah. As I read that. I read Arkham's letter. I mean, I feel like we should go to the Miskatonic.
Sutton.
Like, I think we should.
Yeah, we go visit Matthew McDermott. We could go to Yates.
Where's Matthew McDermott?
R27.
R27.
We could go visit Yates and see the jewelry they have on display.
Was that for this or is that
No,
something?
that's from his letter.
Oh,
He was all panicked because they have some of the jewelry that they, like, recovered from the ship or whatever.
Hmm.
He's like, I can't believe they've just got it out there.
No, that's not a bad idea. Going to Yates as well. I feel like we need to follow
And then
the.
he references Charles.
Will Charles come? Have we seen a Charles anywhere? Who was the other? So maybe. No, we didn't get a requirement card. So going to the. That's not an information that we're supposed to find out who Charles is right here. But
Mhm.
that's something we can follow.
We should probably go visit McDermott or, like, Yates.
Do we want to maybe also just check out the museum just first, just to see where that also leads, just to have two that we could possibly go down? Because maybe it'll.
Yeah, sure.
Where's the museum at?
What day is it?
It's day one. Oh no, the days don't matter for this. So we actually, this is just a counter. Just think of it as like we have this many turns.
So we can't actually go to the gathering.
No.
Sure, because this says it's Thursday. This is this morning's paper, he said.
Mm-hmm.
So that means, like, it would be Friday, Saturday. It'd be, like, day 3
Mm-hmm.
in the evening that they're having the thing.
Yeah, I've not seen the game do that. They only care about day and afternoon, morning, afternoon, and evening.
Mm-hmm.
But they could potentially.
It
But-
could be like if you came here on day 3, you do
Let's
X.
go buy some suits. That seems quite reasonable here.
Or how you say you're retired, Bryn?
10 payment plan,
That doesn't seem
$22.50. That's a pretty alright deal.
10 payment plans, $22.50. Wow.
Holy fuck. Okay.
I think we
We're
should.
not going to buy suits, guys.
I think if we try out the museum, what we can do is if we go there now, we can find out if there is a specific time or date thing that we can come back to later.
Okay.
What's the museum?
Oh, yeah, that's me. I don't know.
Okay.
Do we have that in the back of the book or whatever?
Sorry, Arkham Museum. Is there maybe? There should be that section of like lifestyle and all
Yeah,
that.
that's what I'm going to. Local lifestyle, none of those. Law firm is probably not. Local government, no myths. Tower instruction, gas stations, churches, funeral homes, local culture, Arkham. Like, okay, so there's like the Gallery of Art.
Okay.
There's the Wax Museum,
Okay.
and there's the University Exhibit Museum.
Okay.
But there's no Arkham Museum.
Okay. Great. Great.
If I had to pick one of those, I'd say it's probably the Exhibit Museum.
I would also agree with that. I mean, we could also try going to Amanda Boulanger's house, but I feel like they're just going to say no, she's at work. She's at the museum.
Getting ready for the thing.
There's also this, you wrote the name Berkeley Hollingsworth II, right?
He's
What?
from Kingsport.
Yeah, he's the one who has the items.
Oh yeah, Berkeley Hollingsworth.
Cool, just make sure you have the name. Cool, thanks.
He bequeathed them or whatever.
Yep.
There's weird stuff happening in Kingsport.
And Kingsport's a bad place. That's where actually there's the book club there or whatever it is.
Yeah, they're pretty awful. No, there's like a judge there who was like, they're trying to arrest someone for having bootleg liquor. And
Oh,
he was
yeah.
like, "Do you guys want to try it?" And then all the jurors were like, "No." And then he tried it, and then they didn't reconvene church until 3 days later. And he was like, "Yeah, that was definitely liquor."
Weird.
Yeah.
He probably just drank it all.
Yeah, he's just like sick.
I mean,
Like,
like,
alright,
yeah,
you
that's
don't
the
want
obvious
any?
one.
Yep.
Alright,
It's really
so-
weird that all 12 jurors said no, though.
Yeah.
Especially since they're all Kingsport locals, so. But I don't see how that ties into anything right now, so. It's just kind of interesting.
All right, so do you want to try Amanda Boulanger's house, or do just try the exhibit museum?
Let's try the museum.
Sure, what's that one?
C24.
Please, for the love of God, have an encounter. It does. It's a huge one. Holy shit.
Good.
All right, buckle up, everybody. Justin has a lot to go through. You walk along West College Street. Oh, Travis.
What?
Travis nailed it.
What?
The fog's still suffocating the town. You hear the muffled chime of the Copley Memorial bell tower as you push through the doors of the University Exhibit Museum. A policeman moves to check your arrival, but as one of the garrison's men when he recognizes you, he nods cordially and returns to his guard position. If you have arrived at this location on the evening of day 3, please proceed to supplement encounters on page 112 and read entry 15. If you arrived at any other time, continue to read the entry below. So we still get a full entry, but come back on evening day 3. The museum is quiet and still, like the fogged world outside its walls. The slight odor of rancid seaweed has found its way inside. You are not sure whether you will be welcome, so you cautiously pick your way between cases containing dead-eyed animals as you make your way through to the new exhibit hall. There's a bear. Ugh. Through the gloom, the drapes are pulled over the windows and hardly any of the electric bulbs are lit.
So it says just there's a bear.
That's me. You make out 3 enormous, how do you say Maui heads, like the Easter Island? Moai, thank you. Moai heads. You carefully step over a heavy rope barrier, and hearing a floorboard creak, you dart into a darkened alcove and watch. A woman, blonde, tall, immaculately dressed, is in the room ahead of you.
It's probably Amanda.
Something about her furtive movements lead you to continue watching from the shadows as she moves to a display case. Can you just imagine all 3 of us just back against the wall in the dark? We're all just like...
Well, I'm imaginary,
Yeah.
so
She casts about, making sure she is
You're a
alone,
child.
then quickly reaches inside one of the cabinets and places a small object from it into her bag. A call from further into the exhibit hall causes her to freeze. Miss Belanger, are you in here? Snapping the case closed, she straightens up, checks her hairs in place, and wheels away from the case. Robbins, is that you? She marches aggressively out of sight, her heels clicking like gunshots. Her voice carries from far into the exhibit hall. I don't care what Ingram says. I'm telling you the details of the curse stay on the display. I'm telling you the details of the curse stay on the display. I don't care if the library has lost the book. Make something up. Now go and put it back. You hear the staccato heels move off down a corridor. Keeping to the shadows, you make your way past tall cabinets containing treasures and artifacts from the Pacific.
Sorry, who lost the book?
She says, I don't care what Ingram says. I'm telling you the details. I don't care if the library has lost the book.
Okay.
The case that Belanger had stopped at seems to contain small, intricately carved statues of grotesque marine beasts. It looks as though the remaining statues have been quickly repositioned, so it is impossible to spot if any are missing. You hear a rustling and spot the man, Robbins, reattaching an information plate to the plinth of a large freestanding display case. He finishes what he's doing and raises the dust sheet. You cannot get a good view of the contents of the case, but you watch in fascination as he goes very still and places his hand on the glass of the case. His tongue slides across his lips. He is lost for a moment in his own thoughts. Then he drops the cover back in place and walks away, leaving the hall. Quietly, you creep over to the case and raise the dust sheet. Inside, squatting on a velvet cushion, lies the Star of Tokelau. It is a huge cut diamond noted for its bluish hue, the size and shape of a bird's egg. Even unlit in the dark, it literally makes you gasp at its unearthly splendor, seeming to grow with a light of its own. The star is clasped at the base of a large necklace in which there are set many other tiny gems. The serpentine necklace seems to be predominantly gold, though the light color hints at some strange and beautiful alloy. You carefully return the cover and begin to read the newly affixed plate. Star of Tokelau, the oval cut diamond weighing 216.2 carats. They might ask us how many carats was the diamond. The reverse engraved with an
16.2.
216.2. The reverse engraved with an unknown script dated circa 1200 AD. Each side drilled for clasps. Bequeathed from the estate of the late Berkeley Hollingsworth II, originally thought to have formed part of a pirate horde recovered by Massachusetts sailors in the mid-1800s.
Sorry, what year was it inscribed, you say?
Circa 1200 AD.
Circa 1200 AD. Okay.
The star is purported to lay a curse to its owner. A firm hand on your shoulder startles you, and you wheel around to be confronted with a hulky, hairy man reeking of seawater. His identification badge names him Mr. McSweeney, assistant curator, and he is furious. "This area of the museum is restricted! What do you think you're doing here?" You apologize and try to concoct a quick excuse, but he doesn't buy it. Trying to take what is not yours, maybe our lawyers will handle trespassers as well as inheritance. He hauls you to a policeman, and you are forced to undergo the indignity of having to turn out your pockets to prove that you have not helped yourself to any of the artifacts. Alright, so that was a good one. And we'll come back on the evening of 3.
Sorry, can I see that one again real quick?
Yeah, sure. The name?
Parts. No, or not name. It's-
Up here and then other page. Oh, cool. Nice. Good call, Bryn.
I'll forget.
He's like, who the fuck put this here?
Oh yeah, no, like when we get to it, it's just, what was that? Who would do that?
Okay. So this was the book. Do we know what book they're talking about?
Nope.
Because Armin just brought out a book, but that was the book that we didn't read because it was all spidery.
Probably the Necronomicon.
It's always the Necro fucking Nomicon.
It's like the only book that I have there.
What about
I see
the?
a lot for how people aren't supposed to read it and stuff.
What about Cult des Ghouls? I missed that one. All right.
Alright, so Belanger took something. It might have been one of those small sea creature statues.
Yep.
It might have been nothing.
She might have just been like ogling the Star of Tokelau, right? She could have been like, "This thing is calling to me."
No, she put something in her fucking verse. You're the star of the encounter.
Oh yeah, she does put it in her bag.
Yeah, but it could just be.
And then
keys.
she, like,
it could just be keys.
No, but she,
No.
they
She
call her.
quickly reaches
gets,
inside
like,
one of the cabinets. Yeah.
Yeah, keys that she locked inside the cabinet because.
And they call her, and she's like, "Well, sure, there you go."
But they didn't give us a fucking requirement card, so I don't know how we're supposed to follow up on that.
It doesn't care what Ingram thinks. What the hell's that?
Ingram is a name I think we've heard before, doesn't it? It sounds familiar. Maybe, or maybe not. Ingram.
That's a first name, I think. The closest thing I have in here for last name is like Euron.
Mr. Victor Ingram is scheduled to arrive in Arkham any day now. This is the guy who was the one who took the Dark Young egg.
Oh, that guy.
That's the other Ingram that I recognized from this.
What happened to him? Did he get away?
He got away on train. Is this fucker back in our city? Are we gonna have to kill him? I'll kill a man if you want me to. You just gotta say the word, Travis, and I'll shoot him with a gun.
You don't have a gun. You're a
I
child.
can get a gun. I'm a child. I'll steal it.
What?
All right. Fucking Ingram.
There's also like this Robbins guy who seemed quite
What did she say about Robbins?
interested.
Sorry.
Robbins, is that you? And then I don't care what Ingram says.
And then
Okay.
Robbins was the other guy who fixed the plate, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
He's also quite interested in the star, which is pretty fair. Like, it's interesting. Okay.
So maybe with this one, let's kind of just follow the missing retirees lead, and then on night 3, go back to the museum.
Come back to the museum.
Yeah.
Okay. So options for that are like maybe the soup kitchen, but then Matthew McDermott's the other one. R27, this is his house.
R27. That was the one that.
McDermott's guy wants to go fishing.
Cool. R27.
Yeah.
R27. Matthew McDermott is a jovial Scottish man who has plowed the waters of the Massachusetts coast for over 20 years. You tell him you are investigating the disappearance of 2 old military men. Sergeant Salter and Colonel Benoit, they called in to see me. Salter seemed to want to take a trip on my boat, but the colonel wasn't so sure. Salter told me he just needed a bit more persuasion. A bad experience at sea, he explained. Perhaps they called in at Marley's. The sergeant did mention that to Benoit as they were leaving. He tells you that he is happy to take you out sailing if you have somewhere in mind. Marley's probably too busy anyway. He's sure they've got bootleggers down at the caves that they use to winter their boats. I think the police caught a couple on the docks early this week.
Mm-hmm.
If you have requirement card 7, we can read supplemental encounter 7.
We don't.
We don't. So maybe just make a note that we need 7. Jovial Scottish man. Do we know what Marley's is? Is Marley's the retirement home? No, Marley's probably too busy anyway. Marley's is someone else.
Is her name Marley or like?
No, it's just I just say Marley's, and this is like they called in at Marley's, and then also Marley's probably too busy anyway.
Marley's boat and bait.
Okay.
I think we should go to the other guy's house and see.
Yeah, he seems a
what's
bit more
going on.
crazed.
Yeah.
I also would not be upset if we followed your lead of going for the jewelry store too.
We can also talk to the bootleggers. They're
Mhm.
being held in
The jail.
yeah.
Yeah, I think let's check out what's his nuts. Check out the other guy's place first, just in case there's something there.
Okay.
What's that guy's house?
D46, Salter, right?
Yeah. D46. You easily find the small apartment overlooking the fog-shrouded river and are not surprised when your knocks go unanswered. A helpful neighbor, learning of your search, volunteers you the key on the condition he looks over your shoulder as you hunt for clues to make sure your motives are honest. You readily agree and give the place a quick once-over. In Salter's small study, you discover a journal lying on top of a calendar. You flip through the journal's contents. Salter makes several references to his friends Henry and Charles. He talks about Mrs. Bemis. It's Bemis. As it seems they were organizing charity events to raise money for the veterans' homes together. She's probably a dead end. He also alludes to some peculiar jewelry in Yates that reminded him of that fateful day back in 1917. The calendar is marked with various charitable events coming up over the next year. Each Saturday is marked with soup, and a Saturday 18th has the word gala with a circle around it. So that guy basically just told us what the other guy told us, just with less detail. But 1917 is an important day.
He was also excited to go to the
Gala.
soup.
The soup, yeah. I mean, I feel like the soup, they're just going to be like, yeah, they haven't been here for a few weeks.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, and like she's also not here.
Oh, so then she's the third missing person.
Maybe.
That checks
like,
out.
we don't actually know that she's missing, just that she missed a meeting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think these guys have been missed meetings, though. I think that's the implication. They're old. What else are they going to do? They either go to meetings, die,
They vote.
they vote.
They go walk around.
Yeah, I feel like that's the. I think that's the other one that's missing because these are 3 people missing, and he's psychic, so we can trust him.
There's also this Charles guy though.
Yeah,
I
there's-
forget who he is.
and there's no Charles in the newspaper.
I don't think so. Not from my initial.
And I think Bryn also read it. I think he would recognize if Charles.
Maybe.
I mean, do you guys want to check out Yates, the jewelry store?
Yeah, I think so.
Cool, what's that one?
M29.
You take an instant dislike to the pretentious jeweler, Mr. Yates. He rounds on you as soon as you enter the store, speaking through his noise with an irritating whistling noise, trying the hard sell. A new timepiece, perhaps? Something frivolous for that special someone? A gift for your favorite relative? You interrupt his aggressive pitch and points at some pendants labeled as Innsmouth gold that seem to match the style of the Star of Tokelau necklace. Your eye is fixed on the strange jewelry, and you feel as though you could spend hours studying the striking and untraditional designs. You feel nauseous and lightheaded until Yates pulls you away from the case. Well, Lowe's, I'm selling on behalf of Mr. Waite, W-A-I-T-E, who owns the store around the corner. We share a lot of the trade he makes, things I...
Sorry, W.
A-I-T-E.
Okay.
Who owns the store around the corner. We share a lot of the trade he makes. He makes things and I sell them on. He comes from Innsmouth, you know. And if you ask me, still has some strong ties to the town, as there were a couple of Innsmouth types arguing with him earlier on in the week. You surely have heard about Innsmouth along the coast. Squalor and criminals, a once proud fishing town laid low by the evils of drink. The federal authorities all but closed the place down in the raids of 28. They were shouting about this and that, and one of them kept insisting that Waite pay the restaurant bill to the Russian that they owed. So that was M27? Where's M27?
Is M29?
Oh, sorry, M29. Yeah, what's around
Is
there?
M30 or M5? I remember this.
Pardon?
It's Jackson Monroe, Stone Cutters M5. And Salmon's Haberdashi is M30.
What's like...
Like M31, I guess. Is kind
Yeah,
of
or
also
even like,
M5.
this is supposed to be like one of these ones. Like, all these are like corner.
35 and 31 and stuff.
Yeah.
Is Gilman's Office Supplies. It's probably not where we need to go.
Yeah, I don't think so.
35 is the University Shop. This guy does have, like, there's a W-A-I-T-E. W? Lives at L48. But that's quite a ways away, I think.
In the back, is there anything like jewelry or luxury for sections?
I was looking at stores.
Oh yeah, stores.
Oh, the Goldsmith's at M27. E-weight with an E on the end.
I guess that's around someone's corner.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's the guy, right?
Yeah. He is from
He's
Innsmouth.
selling Innsmouth gold.
Yeah.
go there.
Sure.
I think that's the next logical place.
The proprietor, a thin, pale man with receding hair, is seated behind the counter at E-Wait Goldsmiths. He is engrossed in weighing out several large old coins. As you wait, you cast your eye over some of the merchandise in the glass-top cases and are quietly impressed with the tasteful mounts and large selection that the old goldsmith has to offer. With a satisfied little noise, the man places the coins in a bag and puts them into a heavy floor safe and closes its doors. He seems to notice you for the first time and smiles. Sorry, just sorting out some of the university finds from Professor Robinson's last expedition. She'll be happy that the gold content of these coins is high. I think it fits her
So what was the professor's name?
Robinson.
Robinson?
So it's like the same guy.
No, it's not.
That's
Why
a girl.
wouldn't it be?
She'll be happy
And
that the gold content of those coins is high. I think it fits her theory about trade routes with the Caribbean islands. Sorry, I'm rambling. How can I be assistance of you?
So what was that with Caribbean Islands?
Trade routes. That's her theory.
Okay.
If you arrived here on morning or day,
Nope.
otherwise continue reading. You explain to him that you are looking into the Star of Tokelau and he immediately looks nervous. Yes, I have heard that Hollingsworth Estate has been dispersed. Mr. Yates and I were discussing it earlier this week. He's the jeweler around the corner. We had a mind to see if we could acquire some of the more modest items to sell on. I may have to go and look at the Star myself to see what all the fuss is about. A shadow seems to pass over his face. You see if it has really come to Arkham. ... So that guy's a morning or evening one. Or sorry, morning or afternoon. No, morning. It has to be morning. Yeah.
Or we can just come back in the morning.
Yeah, we could. We could just spend another time here. We don't have to write down another list then, because if you revisit a location, you don't have to write it down again.
I mean, we're already. Does it tell you to go to something different?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
like we're already here, so.
yeah. Let's do it. Let's just spend all night looking at him. He puts the gold back.
Come back in the morning. Okay. Just
Um,
wait outside.
Supplemental encounters and read 17. Ooh. Wade is nervous and twitchy, especially when you explain to him that you are looking into the Star of Tokelau. Yates and I had in mind to acquire some of the more modest items to sell on from Hollingsworth Estate. Until that is... Oh. This is an error. Until that is, we learned of the connection to Innsmouth. I should have guessed that when I saw the name of the lawyer involved. I left the accursed little town of more than 18 years ago, and I have no intention of getting back into bed with those moral degenerates, no matter what Yates said. I asked him to get rid of my last mementos of that place. You press him a little harder about the connection between the Star and Innsmouth, and he cracks almost straight away. They came here asking for my help. Keezar and Tribble. Two names. Keezar first. Keezar. Tribble is Tribble. Bad people from my past. The Star is tied to that accursed town and the ancient pacts it made in the past. They are after it. It became quite heated. I threw them out of here and told them the Innsmouth connection was broken. Heard they got themselves arrested. Morons. She shakes his head sadly. It's part of my past I'd rather forget. Now, if there is nothing else, I really do have a lot of work to be getting to. I suspect they may be wasting their time, though. He looks a little embarrassed. Before I was asked to leave the gala, I was able to get a closer look at the Star. There is a flaw in one of its faces. It's virtually imperceptible to the untrained, even trained eye, but I saw it. The Star has always been documented as flawless. It doesn't make any sense. Gain requirements cards 1 and 9. Unlocking additional content.
So those guys
9.
that are probably the bootleggers that got arrested, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you say anything about who the lawyer was?
No. I feel like it might be part of the Marsh family, if I had to wager. Because if we know anything about Marshes...
Probably. They live in Innsmouth.
They're
like
all
all
evil.
the bad things are their fault.
Anyone who makes anything Lovecraft will just put the marshes in, and everyone's like, I know them.
I know what they do. Yeah, so we could go down to the prison to talk to these guys. 'cause
These
that's
guys
what
were
they are,
also
right?
detained by the federal agents. Like, and they raided Innsmouth however many years ago, right? It may have something to do with that.
I wouldn't be opposed to going.
So, and this guy left Innsmouth before the bad things
Yes.
happened.
Yeah, he said like 20 years ago.
18 years ago, in 1912.
Hmm.
Right, it's the 30.
And it was 1917 where it was remembered 1917.
Yeah. How to get that? In 29,
She's like, oh, they got to visit an isle?
why is that there?
Because there's a monster there.
Probably.
Okay.
We'll never know if we don't go there.
That's true.
I don't want to go see the deep ones. Options, we could go check out that Bennett's person who's probably gone. I would go to Marley's boat and bait.
We go to the prison.
Yeah. Unit after next has to be back to the museum.
Yeah.
Because I remember
It doesn't
why I
say
put
it
that
at the
yellow marker
prison.
on there.
It said they're detained.
He says they're at the prison right now.
Okay.
Yeah. What are other options we have? So this is following the line of the Tokelau, but not the missing people right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like we haven't really wasted a time block yet, so that's good.
Like maybe the one before this one.
Yeah.
It's
But-
not bad. Better than usual.
Any other people that are worth checking out?
We still haven't found who Charles is.
No.
I think that Mr. McSweeney guy's in on it.
I think so too.
He smells like seawater.
So he's definitely from Innsmouth because we're,
Also, we've known that Matthew McDermott, so he was a fisherman off of Massachusetts coast. And the star was thought to have been fished up by in a similar area.
Yeah.
So he might know something about that. We could go down to the docks and ask about that, but
Where are the docks?
like by the river.
That makes sense.
If we were gonna go down there, we'd probably better go like to Marley's bait and whatever.
Mm-hmm. Because they also went to
'Cause that's-
Marley's, right?
That's actually on the riverfront.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait for our readers to tell us how shit we are.
Yeah. We impressed him on the vampire one and never again.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, they did say they went to talk to the person at the bait shop, so maybe that's just the line we follow, because that continues with our the retiree investigation. Right, so maybe we just do the bait shop. So,
Yeah.
R5, you said that was?
Yep.
Okay. R5. Marley's is a popular destination for the nautically inclined citizens of Arkham, catering for everything from casual leisure fishing to more serious yachting. You nonchalantly peruse the goods for sale before discreetly asking the young sales clerk if there has been any unusual activity in the local area, or if they had heard of Sergeant Salter or Colonel Benoit. The clerk thinks for a moment. Now that you mention it, there was a couple of military gentlemen in here for a few weeks ago trying to find out if Matthew McDermott's charter boats were safe. They didn't leave their names, but I told them that I'd trust Matthew with my life. We've had the usual unsavory types from along the coast as well, although there are fewer now that the federal government has practically closed Innsmouth up. I wager they are the same people using the river caves downstream of here, Mr. Marley reckons there have been people meeting there at night, as it's out of sight from the main dock. Bootleggers from Kingsport, most likely. So the river caves downstream of here. The clerk takes you outside and points out a rough track. If you find who has been there, let me know, so I can report them to the police for trespassing. You follow the narrow track that leads down besides the river cliff to a smaller series of cave entrances. Still wet from the high tide, you make your way in and out of the caves until you discover what looks like the remains of a fire. Picking through the burned remains, you're able to find 2 clues. The first is a scrap of paper torn out of a book, on which you can make out the crest of the Miskatonic University Library. Secondly, there is a fragment of typewritten note that reads, "Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Needs 3 if they are to be appeased." There's more when you're ready.
Sure.
You two handle that.
Okay.
I'll deal with the museum by ...
What number was this one?
R5. You pocket the scraps and head back to Rivertown. If you do not already have it, take requirement card 2. So that was juicy.
Yep.
So they need 3. I imagine that's some sort of sacrifice to the deep ones or something.
Well, yeah, so they're trading like humans or whatever for trinkets from the sea.
Yeah. So then
So 3 are probably like.
the 3 retirees that
I
went
bet this
missing.
fucking Matthew guy's in on it.
He could be, yeah.
That's why he wants them to go fishing with him.
Yeah.
It's like those 2 and probably not Charles. I guess.
Probably
it's-
Mr. Ben. I think Mrs. Bemis still.
Yeah.
And then the 2 that are probably dealing with that are probably maybe the 2 that got arrested. And this might be from McSweeney. Because he's the one
Yeah.
at the museum.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah,
what
okay.
that's what I'm currently running with. Well, it's time for the gala. Do you guys want to go?
Like, yeah.
It'd be so funny if, like, you do not have tickets to go to the gala.
I mean, it
they
costs
would
us
have
a
given
time,
us
but
one,
it's not
right?
one of these, right? Because we've
Correct.
already been to the museum.
Is that C24 you have there for
Yeah.
museum? Cool.
That's what I wrote down anyway. Whether it's right or not.
Go to page 122 and read supplemental entry. Oh, what was that, number 5?
Fucking
15. I was close. Holy shit, this is another huge one. Alright.
I mean, this is a big event for the thing.
Yeah, look at this. This is the star of Tokelau. It's right here. Do
Wow.
you see it? There it is.
Right there in the middle of the page.
I found it. Despite the chill and thick, foul-smelling fog, the museum gala event seems to be a huge success. The wealthy and worthy have shown up in large numbers, and you are taken aback by the immaculate suits and elegant gowns as if a crash of
Should've bought
29 had
suits.
never happened. We should have bought suits. As you slip into the hall, one of Garrison's men recognizes you and informs you that there are 15 officers on duty tonight in and around the museum. Heading through the noisy throng, you eventually find the main exhibit hall. Dominating the space are 3 enormous Maui heads from the Easter from the Easter Island, and the room is lined with beautiful display cases containing artifacts from the Pacific. You hear a shrill peal of laughter, and your eye is drawn to a small crowd gathered around a tall blonde woman in a stylish designer dress. As you watch, she stalks over the podium and taps her glass, an expectant hush falling over the room. Ladies and gentlemen of Arkham, as head curator of this new exhibit, I bid you welcome. The woman has an air of superiority and is talking down to the room as though they were children. I have worked tirelessly to bring you the finest of the South Seas, but realize that there's for one thing alone you've come tonight. She gestures to a covered plinth at the far end of the exhibition hall. And it gives me great pleasure to share with you my piece de resistance, the jewel in my crown, so to speak. At this, she snorts at her own weak joke. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Star of Tokelau. The cover is whipped off to reveal a stunning necklace with the star, a huge gem twinkling at its center. The crowd presses forward, each person eager to take their turn inspecting the star. Hearing raised voices, you turn and see a thin, pale man with receding hair being gently escorted from the room by police. That's probably, what's his nuts? Wait, right? That's how they described him. No, it's not right, he shouts, clearly intoxicated. They will come for it. You can't protect it. Courteous but firm, the policeman leads him away. Come now, Mr. Waite. I think you need to go home and have a lie down. You shouldn't let things upset you so. Turning away, you spot a hulking, hairy man gnashing his teeth in barely controlled fury, but you are distracted as you are jostled cordially by the large-framed Ambrose Checkley, Arkham's celebrated society columnist. Ha! You made it! His wide smile is infectious, and you watch his sharp eyes darting over the room with a practiced ease as he speaks to you. You've spotted that McSweeney is furious, then. Him and Robin, see the weasel-looking fellow over there, basically did all the work for this exhibit, so I'm told. And that harpy, Belanger, takes all the credit, as if she lifted a single manicured finger. They were the ones shifting all those crates in, liaising. Thank you for the support. With the Historical Society arranging the displays. I think she's also upset the director Ingram and a number of other serious scholars by having the details of that sensationalist curse story presented as historical fact in the display. As the big man moves away like a galleon under full sail, you consider taking a closer look at the gem if you can get through the crowd. All of a sudden, there is a great crash, and the lights fizzle out across the museum, plunging the gala into inky blackness. There are cries of puzzlement and distress, as rough guttural voices can be heard croaking and barking from outside the huge windows of the exhibit hall. There is suddenly a report of a pistol outside and an unearthly howl, followed by the shouts and cries of what sounds like the officers. A moment later, the lights blink back on, and the crowd seems to calm somewhat. The circulating trays of food and drink soothing the nerves. You spot Garrison talking with one of the officers at the doorway and push through the crowd to speak to him. I can only spare a moment. There were intruders trying to gain access to the exhibit hall. They managed to disrupt the power with what appears to be salt water, but my men fired in their direction and seem to have chased them away for now. I've dispatched several officers to search the surrounding area, but we can't see anything with all this blasted fog. He hurries away, leaving you to wonder just what Armitage has gotten you into. Whew. Yeah, so those are some deep ones, huh?
Yeah, so that guy shot up and was drunk, yelling about how they're coming for it, and then they came for it.
Yeah, see, the drunk guy was right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There actually wasn't like that much of substance there.
No. But it was a cool event.
Yeah.
I'm glad we got to experience.
Easy as fuck. That one guy's pissed off the lady.
But, yeah.
Makes me, he did all the work.
Yeah.
Which is fair. She sounds like a bitch.
Okay. And there's no McSweeney in the directory?
Oh, I didn't look it up. I assumed he was just gonna like ignore us. I mean, like he thought we were trying to steal stuff from his thing. Yeah, just like McSweeney. It was an F-63. You go visit him.
We could.
We could. We go check out the bootleggers. They probably won't tell us much though. They seem to be quite confused that they were arrested. We go talk to Waite again.
No,
I don't think
unless we go to his house.
I don't think he has a house.
I don't think. I think his storyline is done.
Yeah. Fuck Charles B.
Like, are there more lines we want to follow with the missing people?
I like. We want to go talk to this Charles person, but I don't know who that is.
Yeah. So what lines are left to us to follow with the missing people? There's the retirement home,
There's
like the soup kitchen.
There's a chauffeur who escaped from the Fifth Street prison. There's that Barton Johnson who died from gas poisoning. It's too many. He's a policeman. We go talk to his wife.
Maybe let's just check out. I think maybe checking out McSweeney's place might be good.
We could go to the veterans home.
Yeah, that's also a good idea.
We go to Belanger's home.
Also not a bad idea.
There's like the soup kitchen. There's like the. That's probably not useful right now.
Yeah, I think if we're chasing around the soup kitchen or the veterans home, it's probably to try and figure out who this third man is.
Yeah.
Assuming that we don't think it's Mrs. Bennett.
Or Charles.
Yeah.
Or try to figure out who Charles is.
Maybe we go. If we go there with the intention of figuring out.
I mean, like Miss McSweeney's is probably the safer bet.
Sure, John, try McSweeney's.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. F63.
Yeah.
The door to the small apartment of Ferris McSweeney is opened by a woman who introduces herself as Mrs. McSweeney. You tell her the details of your investigation, and she immediately invites you inside. From your conversation with Mrs. McSweeney, you
Your
learn that...
husband is a fish man.
And she's just...
Would you like to go inside and talk about that?
You tell her the details of your investigation, and she immediately invites you inside. From your conversation with Miss McSweeney, you learn that despite his gruff exterior, Ferris is an honorable and loving man who has ambitions to host his own exhibition one day. While Amanda Belanger remains his boss, however, his chances are limited as she takes credit for the work her team produces and seems to live in luxury despite her modest university stipend. If you have a requirement card 3, we get to read further.
Yeah, no.
Cool. Alright, so this Belanger, she seems... I don't think it's Sweeney anymore. I think he was a red herring,
Yeah,
and that's a fish.
so it's probably still him.
Yeah, because he's a fish man.
I would go talk to Miss Belanger. See
Yeah,
why
sure.
she's so rich.
What's her house?
Yeah, it's one of them. Where did I write that
It
down?
makes sense that she's getting rich off Innsmouth gold, right?
And 67.
And 67?
Where's her home?
Jesus Christicus. A worried housekeeper opens the door, broom in hand. You tell her that Miss Belanger sent you over from the museum to collect some of her papers for her exhibit, and you really must get them to her. You get a wave of sympathy from the woman as it turns out that Mrs. Belanger isn't a particularly pleasant employer. She points you in the direction of the study and leaves you to your own devices. The study is arranged very neatly and precisely, and you are careful not to disturb anything. A heavy royal typewriter and ordered letter rack occupy much of the desk too, but it is too large a ledger that you are drawn. It appears to be Miss Belanger's financial records, and a quick glance reveals the woman is virtually bankrupt. Plot twist. There are unusual notions for large cash deposits at irregular intervals, which seem to be keeping her head above water, but things are looking grim. You find several references to a loan as well, and you can see regular payments being made. At the back of the book appears to be a list of artifacts from the museum with lines neatly drawn through them. If you have requirement card 3, read more. And we gotta get this requirement card 3, or use something with this 219 that we got. Okay, so she's bad.
Yeah.
She's selling.
Can I see your entry real quick? Yeah. Mm-hmm. 67.
All right, so
Okay.
what do we think this this requirement 3 is? Because it works for both of them. Do you think it's something to do with the museum?
Well, the other lead we kind of have on that, I mean, we could go back to the museum, but that probably won't serve us very well. The other lead we have is the bootleggers, who, if we think are like the 2 referenced in the letter. We got the chauffeur broke out. There's patrol engine.
Yeah,
Like
but
committed suicide.
Where would we go for the chauffeur? Like he's
Fuck, I
not in
don't know.
prison.
We could talk to the person. We go to his employer, Saracen Chemical Supply. That's an option. Go to Sioux Morning. Go to our elderly vets thing. So we have like what, 8-ish in cars left? 9, something like that.
Pardon?
Like 8, 9 cars left, something like that.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What if we just like go to the docks?
What is that? Where is that?
Downtown.
What are we hoping to find there?
Information.
Yeah, okay.
I just feel like it's all has to do with like water and stuff, right?
Well, yeah, there's deep ones.
And I think we should try it out. I don't know.
Okay. If you want to do that, we can. My vote would be go see the 2 bootleggers from jail, but we can take a shot at the boat for sure.
Yeah, we could also go see if we can talk to the other person who is working at the university, or at the museum, sorry.
The McSweeney guy?
No, not him. The other one.
Amanda?
The guy we saw at the beginning.
Mm.
Uh,
The
Mason.
guy who put the panel on
Yeah.
the thing. I'm trying to see what all these
Oh,
things
yeah.
on this, on like all the things on the water are.
Robbins. I don't know who.
Because we did these two.
There's 2 Robins in there, though. I mean, we could just brute force it, but. That's probably actually quite important. He's probably seen Amanda do something.
Yeah, it's just the docks. And my soul wants it.
Okay, let's go to the docks then. Let's hang out at the docks.
What's that? Is M10?
Yep. Oops.
The docks.
If you arrived at this location during the evening,
We did.
read entry 11.
Would you look at that?
Is there something different if we came here some other time?
Yeah. Oh, it's long too. The smell of rotting fish is almost overwhelming as you pick your way through the detritus of the river docks. The place is deserted and a thick fog curls ominously from the river. Poking around, hoping to find something of use in your investigation, you stumble across a broken crate bearing the name Innsmouth. The torn shipping label seems to indicate that it is once property of the Marsh Refinery, but inside are several smashed bottles and the smell of potent moonshine.
God damn it.
While examining the crate, you were startled by a sudden noise, and across the wharf you spot movement through the fog. A guttural croak, followed by an answering call, freezes your blood. As the fog parts for a moment, you are confronted with a fleeting glimpse of something so hideous it makes your head spin and you start to retch. With sickening, hopping, flopping motions, you are not quite able to comprehend the white-bellied creature, and an anthropoid form with a grotesque fish-like head makes its way across the far jetty. As the fog closes back, you listen to the croaking, bark-like calls before eventually the noise flees into the night. So we should have come during the day. That's my bad. There's something good if we go during the day.
Okay.
Night was bad.
During the afternoon or like during the morning?
Just anytime but night.
Okay, let's stay here. Fuck. We're already here, so.
Picking your way along the stone wharf of the river docks, you carefully skirt the haphazard crates and barrels that have accumulated over the years. Litter blown by the breeze gathers along the wooden jetties that jut out into the gurgling Miskatonic. You spot the familiar face of Fritz, a burly, barrel-chested dockhand who is lounging with a couple of surly-looking men. You approach him cautiously, but he seems to recall you and pushes the litter from the tops of the nearby barrels, allowing you to sit. The men are chuckling about the latest federal raid from the other day when a couple of men were hauled out of their boat and a scuffle ensued, apparently cheered on by most of the surrounding workers. You should have seen them go at it! Funniest thing I've seen in ages, that scrawny little fed trying to read them their rights as they wrestled him all over the place. Shame they hauled them boys off to the station. If we get a strong southerly wind, their schooner is liable to break free and float away. Sooner, you asked? And the men tell you about the schooner moored in the secluded bay along the Miskatonic River estuary. Matthew spotted it coming back from one of his charter fishing tours yesterday, just sat there abandoned. Never a dull moment around here. If it's not old Teddy Blotto on the bootleg saying he'd seen sea monsters crawling over the wharf at night, he did. Its owner, it's out-of-towners fighting with coppers. From further down the dock, a muscled man with a grizzly beard shouts a curse at the men you were talking to. Get back to work, you lazy. You decide they need to press on with your investigation. Take requirement card 7.
Oh, we need that.
Yeah, we needed that one for McDermott.
Go take a boat ride to their schooner.
Bryn is sacrificed, yo.
We're invincible, Travis.
So we go there, back to the
sure.
McDermott. Was that what that guy's place?
R27. Cool.
If you have requirement code 7, go to page 122 and read number 7.
I think this is more requirement cards than we've ever had before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
It's a lot. Matthew McDermott confirms that there's more coming too. Confirms that he's indeed seen an abandoned-looking schooner moored in a small sheltered bay along the Miskatonic and welcomes you aboard the Clarabelle, an elegant little steam-driven fishing trawler. After around 20 minutes, McDermott slows the craft and begins to pull to port, guiding the Clarabelle into a wide tributary where two masted schooner called the Sabre strains at its anchor's chain. McDermott pulls his boat alongside and you struggle across the schooner. The smell of rancid fish and salt water is overwhelming and you find yourself gagging. The vessel has 6 cabins and a locked strong room near the stern of the boat. 2 of the filthy, unkept cabins appear to have been in use, but do not contain anything significant to your investigation, save a crumpled business card from Ottoman Books. So O-T-T-O-M-A-N Books. In the common area, it looks as though a meal has been abandoned partway through. Take requirement card 5.
Holy shit.
You discover a large brass key hanging on a nail and are happy to find that it fits the strong room door. Open it, you're almost bowled over by the stench of fish mixed with the tang of stale blood. But the room is empty except for a small desk and a mop and bucket. On the desk you see a folded piece of paper next to a wedding ring and 2 pairs of dog tags. One reading Benoit H and another reading Salter J. You reel back from the desk, overturning the bucket and spilling the red-stained water across the strong room floor. Fighting to catch your breath, you burst out onto the deck. You don't remember getting back aboard the Clarabelle, but you find the folded paper in your hand as the boat chugs back to Arkham. It is a typewritten letter that reads, "Plans that have been made have now begun. Prepare the sacrifices for the gods who dwell below. We still need a third to complete the rite. I have the perfect candidate in mind for Innsmouth."
Shit. This is 7, right?
Yeah. Oh man, we have a lot of requirement cards. We've only triggered 1. Okay, so maybe the third hasn't gone missing yet?
Maybe.
So there's 3.
Okay, so it's for sure a Dermot lady. Because they point out this typewritten and she has a heavy typewriter in her room. They took the time to point that out, I think. I wouldn't be, like, I mean, I want to say that that other lady's missing, because there's the wedding ring there too. Right?
Yeah, but they said they need a third for the ritual.
Yeah, but that might be old. Like the cabins are already.
It's either that or it could potentially be McSweeney as the third as well.
Yep, McSweeney.
Yeah, it's either, I think, yeah.
I could see them also maybe wanting to sacrifice that weight guy or Charles.
Yeah. So, let's talk about what's happened. This Tokelau thing was fished up by McSweeney, right? His expeditions. No, they were given over, but it's his. He's doing all the work, right?
Yeah, he's done all the work for it.
So
He,
what-
like, procured it?
Okay.
It wasn't fished up by him. It was auctioned off or something like that from some guy's estate.
So because it brings bad luck, if he's the one that did it, can we assume then that he might be the third person because the curse falls anyone who goes to it?
Yeah, I could see that. And the other two guys also have ties to Innsmouth.
Yeah.
No, I bet it's not McSweeney. I bet it's this weight guy because he used to live in Innsmouth.
Yeah, that's also. I think it's, in my opinion, it's Waite, McSweeney, or the missing or the last woman.
Yeah.
It's one of those three. So then the two guys from Innsmouth, and their third, who we're assuming to be Belanger, because she's poor as fuck, but she's selling off items from the museum or something to
Yeah.
stay afloat. But it also was the typewriter.
She's also living a fairly luxurious life, though.
Yeah. So they're doing a sacrifice for Innsmouth. And there's deep ones there. So then there's a question of how much more do we want to dig and when do we want to just stop and answer questions?
I think we're going like to near the
I
end.
think we want to go to that bookshop before we're done.
Ottoman books?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
At the very least.
Yeah.
Okay. M34.
M34?
Yeah.
Thanks. We did it. Ottoman's Arkham's premier general bookstore is bright and clean, with towering shelves containing everything from children's fiction to gardening and almanacs. You're met by a fresh-faced young man, the skin around his throat still a little raw from his morning shave, who asks if you can help with anything. If you have settled requirement card 5, also
shit.
requirement card 6 also does something. 122, entry 4.
Oh, we totally got that.
Got him.
You're about... Really? That's the one I want to read? 122, entry 4. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. So we're in Ottoman's books. We're also here. You're about to leave the historical siding.
That sounds wrong.
Yeah.
Read entry 4. Just going to skim these. There we go. Yeah, this has got to be wrong. Alright, 1 second. I'm just going to quickly look up the... Because I haven't read ahead to this one to see if there's any addendums. There's no way. Go to supplemental 5 instead. Really? That doesn't make sense either. So what was that? M blah blah blah? M34.
34.
So this is what it says, but I still don't think that's right. Yeah, if you have requirement 5, it tells you to turn to supplemental 4. This is an error. Go to supplemental 5 instead. So let me just read this, and I'll show you
And
guys
it
what
makes
it
sense.
says.
It's how it usually says, right?
but it says, Ottomans, you're met by a fresh-faced man who asks if he can help you with anything. It then says, you show the young man the card and he gestures to a small pile on the counter, indicating that anyone may help themselves to one.
That makes sense.
But what?
Business cards,
Yeah,
probably.
business cards.
Oh, fuck! Yeah, no, that's right. No, number 6 is a lot sweeter. We should have requirement card 6.
Yeah, great.
Alright, well, that was a waste of time.
Sweet.
Number 4 was a lot nicer. Whew.
Just go to Historical Society or... we can go investigate those guys. And,
Prison? Yeah, let's check out the guys in the prison. What's the prison?
the guy, Fritz did say they took them to the station,
Yeah.
which is a different place than the prison.
Okay. I'm going to assume they're in the prison.
Okay. D10, the jail.
No, D10.
Good. D32 is the police station.
There it is. Inspector Garrison is in his office studying a plan of the University Exhibit Museum. He looks up and smiles warmly at you. Armitage got you out on the streets again? Anything I should know about? You explain that you were looking into the disappearance suggested by the paper, and he shrugs. I think the professor must be bored. No one's reported them missing, and the morgue is empty for now, so there's not much I can do. He gestures at the plan. Besides, I got my hands full policing this blasted gal event. It's making a serious dent in my manpower, I won't lie to you. If that's not enough, I've got this dang treasury agent, Weedham, sniffing around and getting himself into mischief. His normal professional solemnity suddenly cracks into a huge grin. Mickey Tull did have to take on a couple of toughs down at the dock. He accused them of bootlegging as they stepped off their rowboat, and they weren't too happy. They got a few licks in before Mickey managed to clap the bracelets on them. No evidence they've done anything wrong, mind you, apart from giving in a federal man a going over. I might be able to hold them for a couple days, but if Weedham doesn't find anything incriminating, I'll have to turn them loose. He'll not find much evidence of bootlegging down at the chemical plant anyhow.
Man, these police are nice. If you be a policeman, then you just get shot.
Yep. 1930s were a different time.
Yeah.
You ask about the group the police had to chase away from the museum, but it seems that Armitage got the wrong end of the stick. The youths they had to chase away were just hoping to catch a glimpse of the new and, by all accounts, very attractive museum secretary. However, if you have requirement card 1, read encounter 1.
Oh, we got that one. Sweet.
You ask the inspector if you can question those 2 captives. They match the description of 2 men linked to your own investigation. He allows you 5 minutes, but suspects that you are wasting your time. You smell the 2 men before you even reach their cell, a pungent reek of seaweed. Man, these guys need to shout. Or not be deep ones. They are unkempt with dull, expressionless faces and certainly have that look that you have heard hushed whispers about whenever people mention Innsmouth. Their bulging, watery eyes unsettle you for a reason you can't put your finger on. Who's this bothering us now? When are you letting us out? The bigger of the 2 men, identified as Caleb Tribble Snarls, sorry. So yeah, Caleb is his first name. You ask the men...
Sure. Like the thing's probably gonna
Yeah,
ask us.
Yeah, he does ask for full names. You ask the men who they are working for, whom they are working with, and what they are up to in Arkham, but they merely grin menacingly. I don't rightly think that's any of your business, nor is it any of the police's. We ain't broken no laws, and we ain't been bringing booze up the river. Caleb's partner, the smaller Larry, Kezar can't resist chipping in. If he'd bother inspecting our schooner anchored downriver from the docks, you're to see we was telling the truth. There's not a drop of hooch on board. Caleb elbows him hard and scowls. Shut up, Lair. That ain't none of their business either. Seeing you're getting a little out of the men, you thank the inspector and head back to the streets. Okay.
So we got like 2 reading hours left.
Yeah. Is there anything worth it that we can think of? Or do we just want to dive to the question?
Dive like fishmen.
Dive like fishmen. Because I feel like I know what happened. I feel like I'm just going to miss a few details, right?
Yeah.
Like, we might not know, like, for sure 100% who the third person is for either the person or the sacrifice, right? But I think we know more than the time we had to figure out what the poison was made out of, and we just guessed 5 things.
Maybe that Sweeney guy is the one who's.
Quick, guys, think of 5 different things.
Nutmeg.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. So if Boulanger was getting gold from Innsmouth, she wouldn't need to sell it. Like the McSween guy also smells like seawater, which might just be because he works from the docks a lot, but that's
But
pretty
also,
consistent.
yeah.
The only other description you have of people smelling like seawater are these two, and they have bulging eyes.
But do you think his wife...
Yeah, but he's also like huge and hairy, right? And fish don't have hair. I don't
but
think.
these guys probably do.
Yeah, maybe.
You want to go to the Unvisited Isle?
We could.
Only good stuff's happened there.
Nothing bad ever.
Nothing bad. It's true. Nothing bad's ever happened to us on the Unvisited Isle in this.
We go check out that Venice person.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
See if they're like the last one.
Sure, that's actually not a bad idea. And then Unvisited Isle to close it all off?
Because if she's missing, she's probably the last one. Because
Yes.
they had that wedding ring, right?
Yeah, so let's just cross that off the list.
Yeah,
Do you know-
F-47.
The mailboxes indicate that, holy shit, we did it. The mailboxes indicate that a Bemis is in apartment 2, but there's no answer to the buzzer. As you make your way back down the steps to consider your alternatives, you almost bump into a young man in an apron hurrying up the steps with a large covered dish. Excuse me, sorry, this casserole will get cold if I waste any more time. You see him struggle to take a key out of his pocket and offer to help him by holding his dish so he can get the door open. Thank you so much. This is my last delivery for Mrs. Bemis. She's ever so poorly, and the doctor has told her she must try to eat. You tell the man that you feared for Miss Bemis's safety, and the man smiles, telling you that his mother is an old friend of hers. They've been setting up food for a few days now to try and help her build up her strength after a particularly bad bout of the flu. You ask if you might call on Mrs. Bemis. If you arrive at this location on or after the evening of day 2, which we did, please read entry 10.
She's gonna be like fucking gone.
No, it's because she was too sick to receive visitors.
Oh, sweet.
The man considers your request. Well, she has been getting better this last couple of days. I don't suppose 5 minutes wouldn't hurt. He leads you up a narrow staircase and introduces you to a frail elderly lady swaddled in a shawl. As she pecks at her casserole, she considers your questions about the disappearances of Colonel Benoit and Sergeant Salter. I'm not sure I can shed any light on that, dear. I was supposed to meet with them on Saturday at the cafe to discuss the spring fundraiser. We often get together there, as do many people our age. They do a nice spread. They were always talking of taking one more trip to sea for unfinished business, but who knows what that might have been. They are quite private, reserved men, really. Have you tried asking at the Veterans Home or possibly the Armory? So she's alive. That's good news.
So that Charles guy's gotta be the last one, probably, right? Unless, like, Boulanger is gonna send out McSweeney or something.
Yeah, I feel like if we're assuming it's Belanger who's the third, it's probably McSweeney. Or that Robbins guy that's working with her.
Yeah.
One of the two. Does Robbins have a house we could visit?
I believe there's 2 Robins.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, there's J and R.
Where are they? What's their numbers?
J is N73, and R is N44.
So all up here. N44. N73. I mean, do we risk it? Because that's like, it's basically just we risk it or we just go to questions if we can't find any other lead
And
to
I
follow.
think we could go to the Armory and see if this Charles fellow was someone they knew from there,
Yeah.
or go to the Veterans Home.
What are the two initials? J and
R.
R? Maybe those are Charles.
Excuse me.
Yeah, we can go to the veteran place or the armory.
What was the cafe she talked about?
Cafe.
Yeah, but like which one?
At the cafe.
Good.
Yeah, just the cafe.
That might be Auntie Nitz, who does the soup morning.
Mm-hmm.
It's a diner with all the other cafes. The other one's like the Desolate Highway Cafe and the Bell Cafe that actually say cafe in the name.
Or we could go like the armory. You just want to get some food, don't you?
No, we go like the YMCA.
Man, let's go buy suits.
Yeah.
No, we don't need to look at all our fighting Mythos sheds.
Oh, we do because like
The last week we could also go to Pascal Fenton on L4 and see what he has to say.
it seems a bit late for that.
Yeah, he's like, Deep Ones, Cthulhu!
Thank you.
Thanks, boss.
I can't find the armory. It's a hotel.
Ooh.
Man, this would be so much easier if we could just actually ask them, like, hey, which cafe are you talking about?
Yeah.
This seems like a pretty easy question.
If this was
to
like an
ask.
investigation, yeah.
No, instead we're like, oh, they're at the cafe, and then we leave and we're immediately like, which cafe is she talking about?
Yeah.
And we can't go back.
We can go back and talk to her. No, we're not allowed to.
Well, we
Oh,
can,
did
but she'll
shit.
just say the exact same thing again.
Yeah, that's pretty uncomfortable. That'd be real weird. Walk outside and like the kid comes walking up again.
Yeah.
Like,
We're just like, help, help. Do you have the veterans home?
yeah. I'd be more inclined to do the cafe than the veterans home, but
Yeah, but the cafe is like what, a 1 in 3 shot.
Well, the cafe, like, what are we going to learn from that? They just sit there and meet? I feel like that's just like... I mean, I also personally don't know what, yeah, because we're going for the veterans home and the armory just to find out about this Charles.
I feel like the veterans home is something that's referenced in the newspaper. It's probably just gonna be like, oh yeah, they were here and
Yeah.
they went missing X days ago.
But I think the cafe would just do the same thing. It's like, yeah, they usually come for soup, but none of them have showed up recently.
I mean, this one could also say like, oh, they used to go like the cafe and stuff.
I'm also cool with with us just calling it, because I feel like none of these leads are particularly.
Oh yeah. I mean, like I do kind of want to find who Charles is, but
Yeah, I do too.
I don't see anything for an armory.
It's just not even a place. Like,
Well, if you want to try the cafe, we can try it.
Oh, there's Massachusetts Guard Armory.
Huh.
There's like all kinds of words in front. We could go to that. It's like the cafe. I don't know.
What do you vote, Bryn?
well, I think the cafe is just going to be useless. But
Yeah.
like, I think the cafe would be something that's supposed to direct us towards her.
Potentially, yeah.
Do you want to do the armory then?
Sure, let's give it a shot.
It's D44.
I don't know. Maybe the cafe would tell us like who this Charles is if they hang out together. But
Here we go.
Yeah.
You are surprised at the ease in which you're able to walk to the fenced courtyard in front of the Massachusetts Guard Armory. When you approach a mechanic battling with the oil filter of a large truck, he challenges you about being on private property. On discovering that you were searching for information about the missing veterans, however, he becomes much more cooperative. The man introduces himself as Sergeant Pierce and says he knows a former Sergeant John Salter well, often spending time with the old man chatting about the state of the military. He would call by pretty much every morning on his way to see the other veterans. Both the sergeant and Colonel Benoit have been working with us here for years, organizing charity events for the home over on the campus. You could try asking Mrs. Bemis, the big man suggests. She's in charge of the fundraising activities for the veterans, but she didn't often come by, quite a frail lady herself. She used to meet with the other fundraisers over lunch once a month. At least that's what John told me.
Yeah, she's almost dead.
All right, we're done.
Good.
Let's go with some questions. Who is the final victim scheduled to be kidnapped by the Innsmouth connection?
No, fuck, it's probably...
So we have three options here. We have Robbins, McSweeney, and Charles. Do we want to say Charles because we don't know anything about him? But he has connections to the other two that are missing.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because I feel like that's the piece we're missing.
Yeah, let's
right?
do it, Charles.
All right.
What is the name of the ship sunk in 1917?
Oh, fuck.
Didn't we learn that?
I don't know.
It was in the note. Was
Which
it
one?
the first one we found in Benoit's house?
I don't remember. It's been a while. No, I didn't write that down.
Okay, because we have... No, there's something about... They sunk... Wasn't it the Kraken? They said we sunk the Kraken?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there was something about Kraken. Yeah, let's go with that. That sounds like something you'd name a ship, kind of.
What did the Innsmouth connection hope to use the Star of Tokelau for?
Something Cthulhu.
Summon Cthulhu? Bring Ryla to the world?
Mm-hmm.
What should we say?
It's probably something like awaken the deep one, or awaken the ones.
The deep one, yeah.
What, like not deep ones. What did she say when she was talking about them? She said she wanted a third sacrifice.
Ryla Rising? For Innsmouth. She said
Yeah.
for Innsmouth.
Said something about sacrificing to like the old gods or the
Yeah.
deep gods or something like that.
So it has to something to do with... Yeah, sacrificing for the old gods.
And, like to appease the deep ones.
Yeah, appease the deep ones. Sacrifice for appeasing the deep ones. I think we need sacrifice and appeasing deep ones in there. Who is the leader of the Innsmouth connection in Arkham? Alright, so it's either McSweeney or Belanger.
And like I thought it was McSweeney initially, but there's solid evidence for it to be Belanger. I don't think McSweeney would have access to like university stationery.
There was a question later on that says, why is museum curator Amanda Belanger acting suspiciously? So I don't think it's her.
Okay, it's probably like McSweeney then.
Let's say McSweeney.
What the hell's his first name?
We have his first name written down, so we can refer to it.
Okay.
Where is the real Star of Tokelau?
The...
We knew there was the fake one. We did know that.
Yeah.
Where is the real Star of Tokelau?
Man, it's like we'll only play half the game.
I know. I feel like we knew so much, but we know so little.
The game's just letting me go.
Um,
Or I'm just gonna be like, I went to 5 places.
yeah. Didn't even have to lock you in a cage for this one. Where is the real Star of Tokelau? That's the question, huh? Just say Ryla. I mean, it could be on Visit an Hour. Not on their boat. Man, can you imagine if this was a trick question? It's just in the museum.
In the display.
Well, no, they told us it's not the real one.
What if they're at What's-His-Nuts house?
Who's that guy?
The jeweler. Not Wait, the other jeweler. What if he's a jerk?
Yeah, because the other one
I
was.
don't think so. He seemed
Well.
pretty concerned when he showed up, like, pissed drunk at the event.
Yeah, that was Wade though.
Oh, yeah, that guy. Yates Fine Jewelers.
Yeah, Yates. Yates Fine Jewelers.
Yeah, okay.
What is the curse of the Star of Tokelau? Deep ones come and kill you. Sure, deep ones.
Yeah, deep ones, like, you need to make sacrifices to them or whatever, or they'll come get you.
Why is museum curator Amanda Belanger acting suspiciously? Because she's
Because she's
stealing
stealing
artifacts.
Yeah, she's poor and stealing.
Which reference book was stolen from the library? I don't know.
Man, we should have talked to like Armitage or like
Yeah.
yeah. I think this is like the first time we didn't do that.
We went to Armitage's office. He said, "Dear students, I'm not in my office. Go to the library and read a book."
Okay, so no, what books do we know of that talk about deep ones?
Not the Necronomicon.
No, it's not the Cortez de Google.
Not
That
De
one's
Vermis
French.
Liberis.
Yeah. It's not the King in Yellow.
No.
Kind of like, now I should pay more attention to garbage items when I come over. Trashy these guys.
No, I don't think we know this.
Yeah. You got us that time.
Why is Agent William Weedham really in Arkham?
Who?
William Weedham, that's the guy who...
He's like-
Oh, yeah,
treasury guy,
yeah,
right?
the treasury guy.
no, he's Agent William Weedham. He sounds like an FBI agent.
Yeah, but like we
Yeah, because we talked with him, we learned about him through Garrison.
yeah.
Yeah.
We said he was there from the treasury, right?
Let's just say he was looking for people from Innsmouth.
Investigating smuggling for Innsmouth.
Yeah.
Sure. And a bonus question.
They did reference that there was like a feds raid, so he is probably investigating something related to.
And this is a bonus question. Was the kidnapping and murder of Lieutenant Charles Keyes prevented? So write down Charles Keyes.
What's it? How do you spell that?
Key with an E at the end. With an S. So I'm going to say yes. Because we're still alive. Thoughts?
Sure.
I mean, we didn't discover Abby, like, no, because we didn't get anywhere near
I
that.
mean, we didn't prevent it,
Yeah.
but we also didn't find his tags on the boat.
Oh, no, this probably was a... No, that was something we needed to do, so
Yeah.
no, it wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, no,
Yeah, no.
he's dead as shit. Okay. Scoring time.
Who was the final victim scheduled to be kidnapped by the Innsmouth Connection?
Charles Keyes.
4 points. Here, do you want a red?
It's worth 4 points.
Yeah.
Okay.
What is the name of the abandoned schooner in the Miskatonic estuary? That's not the question they asked us.
No, it was not, but we would have got that because it was the Saber, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 2 points.
Why would you?
Let's see what the fucking thing says.
Excuse me?
I guess I'll just download you again, sure. It's question 2 in the scoring section seems correct. What is the correct? The answer is the Kraken. It's right
Which
in the
is
scoring.
what we actually
Ew.
answered, so.
Nice. How do you get requirement card 8? Take it a requirement card N10 if you find a reason to go to N10. I don't think we did that.
Where?
Um,
M10?
yeah. Ooh.
Like, we went to the docks for sure.
N10, not
Oh,
N10.
N.
Yeah.
No, we didn't do N10.
What did the Innsmouth Connection hope to use the Star of Tokelau for? They plan to use the star as a part of a ritual to open a gateway to Ryla. No.
Nope.
No. 0 points. Ooh, who is the leader of the Innsmouth Connection? James Robbins.
Fuck.
Yep. J. Robbins. Fuck. Where's the real Star of Tokelau? In the lock safe in Mary Kezar's home. Fuck. What is the curse of the Star of Tokelau? Drive its owners to insanity, financial ruin, and suicide. We're so good at solving mysteries.
I mean, that one makes sense.
Ooh, why is museum curator Amanda Belanger acting suspiciously? She is broken attempting to pawn artifacts in order to pay for her debts.
Well, that's like exactly what we have.
We did it. 2 points.
Holy shit.
What reference book was stolen from the library?
0 points.
Ryla Rising. Why is Agent William Weedham really in Arkham? He's investigated a mysterious letter found in his deceased mother's effects.
Oh, fuck, that's another
If you reach location N58 before the evening of day 5, Lieutenant Key successfully escaped the Innsmouth connection. If you did not deduct 1 point from your score.
Shit. Alright, well, we're on 7 then.
Deduct 1 point if you saw deep ones flopping around on the docks.
No.
Deduct 1?
Yeah,
No, we
did.
did.
Totally
We did.
did,
At
yeah.
Oh,
night.
so we went there in the evening?
Yeah, we went to the docks at
I
night.
missed that shit.
Deduct 1 point if you saw the Innsmouth Gold and Yates Jewelry Store.
Fuck.
We did.
Yep.
Man, we're gonna be like 0.
Count the number of locations you traveled to that contain a written encounter. Deduct 1 point for every. So how many do we do?
13.
So we deduct 10 points. So 3 points. Sorry, we deduct 3 points from our score.
Oh man, we got 2.
Yep.
Fuck yeah.
Armitage realizes you are still an amateur and offers you a bit of help on the next case. When you play your next case, you may start the case with requirement 1 already collected.
Alright.
Woo!
How did Armitage do it?
Sorry. If you reach location N58 by morning day 6, otherwise read solution A. Winding your way through the fog to Armitage's office, you arrive to find the head librarian in a state of agitation, wringing his hands with stress and anger. It seems as though our efforts were in vain, our enemies have gained a measure of success, or at least that this is what they believe. We were too late to save poor Lieutenant Keyes, and I believe he joins Colonel Benoit and Sergeant Salter, sacrifices to some blasphemous deity of the deep. No doubt carried out on board the Sabre moored out in the estuary. He bids you sit down as he paces back and forth over the investigation in his mind, verbalizing his actions over the last few days, looking for something more he could have done. We may not have been able to save poor Lieutenant Keyes, but with Mary's brave choice, she is able to save us all.
Who?
Who? He sits back and steeples his fingers. Next time we must try harder.
Fuck you.
So he did go to the soup place, but that just took him to the Benoit's house. How did he fucking do this?
It says in 10 locations.
So the only one he didn't go to was fucking Mary Kezar's house? You cheating son of a bitch. He did all the things we did except for the soup place, and all the soup place fucking said. There's a fucking soup place. The fucking read entries 12? What is this fucking shit? Nothing! He just goes to the gala, he goes to fucking U66. What's this bullshit?
I don't know what U66 is, man. We never had that one.
Do we have a requirement card 8?
No.
Nah, we couldn't even do
No,
the
we
cool
got
thing.
like 1, 2, we had to go to like, what was it, N10 to get 8?
Oh man, she turns into a deep one in front of us.
Sweet.
Man, God, I really like that one. I thought we were rocking it, and then it's like, oh,
You did everything wrong.
we did everything wrong.
Why is this game so hard?
I know, we rocked it in the first 2.
Yeah.
I mean, in all fairness, I'm gonna say this, off the recording. But thanks for watching.